signal now for when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Beyond the Bat Signal. I'm your host, Dominic Unica. Join me as we dive into the depths of Batman's lore, dissecting the rogues gallery, and uncovering the stories of our iconic vigilante known as the Dark Knight. On today's episode, we got a doozy where we're going to be talking about Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 6, where it's titled, Suspects. And this is, to me, a true noir story of whodunit. I mean, obviously, this whole series has been a whodunit, like whose holiday this time. And it leaves us with questions. There's going to be spoilers, I can assure you. So please, I encourage you, if you haven't started reading this series, I encourage you to go pick this issue up, or the series up. I mean, we're only on issue 6. There's 4 more to go, and it's been a fun ride, I'll be honest. Now, before I get into today's episode, I just want to thank each of our listeners who have been tuning in, and thank you for brand new listeners that are tuning in, whether it's within the United States. There's listeners out in Ukraine, Japan, Germany, Denmark, unbelievable. Even all across Europe. Like I know UK, where I think it's areas like London as well, where they're just the support, and obviously Canada. The support has been incredible. I don't want to leave any out. Egypt was another. Spain, France. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot. I am curious about your feedback. If you feel the need and want to, please shoot me an email with your thoughts. If you have any questions, fire away, as I highly encourage it. Now, before I get in, there is actually a question or a comment that was left, and I just wanted to respond to it. But prior to that, I just want to say, if you'd like to follow along and like what we do here, you can follow on our socials at X/Twitter at Beyond Bat Signal. And then I also have an email if you have any questions or comments that you can, there's been people that left comments on the YouTube channel, or you can shoot me an email at beyondthebatsignal@gmail.com. So, yeah, I say let's get into some of these episodes here. So first off, let me talk about the comments. Trying to look. Let's see. 1 second here. Okay, so Donald Allen 9804. I love the first issue so this is regarding the Hush issue. And if you haven't tuned into that episode where he was talking about Batman 158, I call it was Hush 2, issue 1, really. But Donald says, I love the first issue, and that thing that Hush had in Joker's mouth reminded me of a car jack where it lifts the car, but I do think he broke Joker's jaw. Honestly, I agree. Torture at its finest, and I'm right there with you, Don. Like, the way that even Jim Lee just drew it, I felt the torture just deep into my soul. And I also like the other comment that he dropped, where it's like that big new character whose name is Silence busted Joker's eardrums is, in fact, a brand new creation. I thought so. And I had listen, I'm sure that there's a lot of things I miss. This one, I'm like, Silence. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I feel like I would know this guy. He was a big, badass dude. So thanks for confirming that one. And yeah, listen. If you guys listen to YouTube, drop a comment, drop a like. Goes a long way. But I do enjoy reading these things. Truly, I do. And I normally do respond. And I like to bring it up on the show. Speaking of this show, so we're going to be talking about Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 6. This one is written by Jeph Loeb and drawn in illustrations by Enrico Marini. So if you're not sure, he also drew, I believe it was Batman, The Dark Prince Charming. Read it. It's a fun book and definitely worth checking out as well. So what I'm going to do is go through this book, briefly talk about what it was all about, and then kind of give a review. It's not going to be a long episode, but it's going to be a fun one. So let's rock and roll. Now, the cover I got was cover A. This one was by Tim Sale. It has Two-Face right in the front cover. It's half white and then it has like half red. I actually really like it. I've been pretty much doing I have been doing all Tim Sale purchases of the cover. And, you know, I thought that Enrico Marini really does a nice little tribute to Tim Sale. The tone really does lend itself to noir, and it kind of has that vibe of Loeb and Sale. Obviously, it's not spot on, and I don't expect them to, but it does have that feel. And it kind of picks up where we left off, where Gilda's looking for Harvey, and, you know, she encounters him. And Two-Face's response is Harvey Dent is dead, and she's just absolutely livid. She even jumps on top of him and tries to strangle him, and she's like trying to get her Harvey back. And then you have Solomon Grundy just looking on, which I gotta say is kind of intimidating. You know, you never know what that guy's gonna do. He could just pick you up with one arm and just toss you. But obviously he was much more delicate when it came to Gilda Dent. And she wasn't holding back. It almost looked like a belt, but is it a strap? I'm just trying to get a good look here while I have my book open. I don't know. Looks purple though. Anyway, she had it wrapped around Harvey Dent's neck, and he was really struggling. I even got Solomon Grundy to just take her off. But you know that he is deep in the sewers. And then we get, I guess, back at the crime scene where we thought were FBI agents, and they were not, actually. They actually ended up working for Mario Falcone. And who do we get that enters this story? And if I'm not mistaken, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but we get Amanda Waller, first time showing up in the Long Halloween series, if I'm not mistaken. And she shows up, and she's her big badass self and just, you know, gives no craps about anybody. And clearly her and Jim seem to have a past. Looks like it's going back from Chicago. And, you know, basically she took it. I always think of, when I say I take it personally, I always think about that documentary on Netflix with Jordan and the Bulls, The Last Dance. Anyway, so Robin shows up, and he finds what looks like something that's like a little poisonous. There's leaves around it. And right away, I think a lot of readers will immediately think of, or Bat fans will think of, poison ivy. And Robin goes and asks Batman, like, who's that creepy lady? Referring to Amanda Waller. And then Batman, because, you know, this is early years of Batman, responds with, someone I suspect we'll be dealing with someday. What did you find? I did as you told me. So it's nice to hear that Robin's starting to listen and pay attention to what Batman wants. Smart little guy, not making no mistakes anymore. And yeah, so he brings this to Batman's attention. And then they have like a cool little, it's a nice Batman moment, and then a cool little moment between Robin and Jim where, you know, at one point Batman's talking to them, they turn their heads, and then they look back, ask a question, and he's gone. He isn't Batman. And both Jim and Robin just say, I hate when he does that. Nice little moment that I actually appreciated. They really do a good job. I thought Jeph Loeb did a great job with Robin, especially in this particular issue. he's not thrown in too much. He's not over the top. It's just right. It's a nice Batman Robin story, primarily with Batman just being the older, more mature and experienced, and you can clearly see. This story also takes an interesting, I guess, leap as well. I mean, we all know Catwoman generally is on Batman's side. She was concerned because, Batman was struggling. He was shot, and she was there for him, and very concerned about his health. Anyway, so we find her in Mario Falcone's apartment, and he's just like, "What the heck are you doing here?" And she's just looking into this safe. There's a ton of money. There's a gun. And what does she want? She doesn't want the gun. She wants the photo. And Batman's questioning her. She's questioning him. But I love how Loeb writes it, between the banter between these two. And even something like, Batman has... Batman responds with, okay, one question. What if I just take the gun from you? What do you want with a family portrait whom you have no relationship and a bullet hole from a .22 caliber? Catwoman's response, which I thought was pretty clever. Hey, that's two questions. Which, nice little writing. I was like, touche. That is two questions. And then she goes, oh, can I ask you a question? And Batman's response, smart ass response, was, that is a question. I don't know. Kind of liked it. Then we get Batman back in the Batcave. He's realizing that, he's asking, like, where is Mario Falcone? And she won't say anything. She doesn't. But as Batman takes off, Batman says, like, she knows where Mario Falcone is. Why would she want his painting? And then we find Batman in the Batcave with the Batmobile reappearing. And, I love this panel because it just looks so timeless. But he has one big screen, and he's got three suspects up. Gilda Dent, Two-Face, Mario Falcone. And him and Robin are just kind of going back and forth about, like, okay, why was it that there was no murder on every other there was a murder on every other holiday except New Year's? Why? And and Robin's response was, it just to, like, someone pretend to be holiday? And Batman's like, think deeper. Like, we're trying to figure this out. And they have a nice little panel where Batman just has his hands together and he's thinking. And I think it looks like, it seems like, the one thing that Batman and Robin have both heard, because Catwoman whispered in that night, you're on the wrong side. And Robin's like, wait a minute. That's what Calendar Man told me. That's exactly what Calendar Man told me, that you're on the wrong side. So one is, like, there's a couple of clues that have popped up. And I feel like, I'm like, am I stupid? Do I not know who this is? Right? But I know that that's been repeated twice. And actually in this issue, it's going to be 3 times. So here we have Two-Face lookalikes who are attacking Mr. Freeze as the story moves forward. And they're trying to take Freeze down. I love the way that they draw him, by the way. And Batman goes after him. And then all of a sudden, so Robin's taking out the goons, doing a great job. Batman finds this. It's like, thank God this kid's here. And the one thing that Catwoman points out to Batman was, like, there's something different. That kid you're working with, he really cares about you. So Catwoman was alluding to Robin that she really cares about Batman. And she says, you don't just let that happen. He is someone special. Like, it's showing that, yeah, Batman's got a soft spot for Robin. And there's something, it's almost like it is his adopted son, right? But anyway, so Robin's taking out the goons. Batman takes out Mr. Freeze. And then all of a sudden, a gunshot comes out of nowhere and shoots Freeze, not directly in the head, but in that glass helmet. And Batman has to what looks like he's putting on is like some sort of super glue to seal him up. And of course, what does Freeze say to him? You're on the wrong side. I don't know. And then near the ending, we're left with a cliffhanger where he sees Holiday. He's chasing after him or her. And he's like, stop. I told you, stop. And bam. Doesn't this mother effer shoot Robin? Where exactly? It seems like it's in the shoulder area, the arm. And we get a panel which there's no words other than he's someone special. And it's a .22 caliber gun left down. I noticed that there was some like clover leaves at the bottom. Not sure if that's a meaning to anything. No idea. But you have Batman holding Robin being bloody, and it's blood just going down his arm. I don't know if this is a nod to the death of Jason Todd. I have no clue. But then the story kind of caps off where it's April 1st and Catwoman walks into and visits Poison Ivy, and she unravels the painting, and it's a picture of obviously the Falcone family, and she just says, I mean, the last survivor heir, that's who she is, but we're certainly not letting it go to waste. And who do they have kept hostage? Well, it's Mario Falcone that's with them. He's hanging up, it looks like, by Poison Ivy's, I don't know what you call these, the branches. And Catwoman's asking, where's your mother, Mario? She's no longer living in Rome. I want Louisa Falcone in Gotham City. And then that's just how we leave off. And I was just like, wow, there is so much story to unravel. One with Robin down for the count. And you knew he was going to make a mistake that would punish him. And sure enough, it did. And he's got a lot to learn. This is a young Dick Grayson. And you're just like, oh man, this is where this story ends, right? Like this is where, and then no. They're like, here's one ending and here's another. And we have a final shot of Poison Ivy and Catwoman working together and questioning Mario Falcone of where his mother Louisa is. Overall, I thought that this story was fantastic. I did enjoy last month's issue. I thought that there was definitely an improvement when it came to the art. The story still has been, I think, steadily fantastic. You know, it's keeping you guessing. I think when it's all collected, it's just going to be that much better and that much more enriching. I can't wait to read it all together. The art from Enrico Marini, definitely a step up in my opinion. Has it been my favorite thus far? No. What would I rate it? An A-. I thought for the art, the story itself was a 9. So I'd probably give it probably an A. I've definitely been enjoying this noir style history. Oh my god, mystery of, like, you know, who's this holiday killer? You got a lot of action. A lot of the villains or Batman's rogues are going down, and clearly they're the targets, not the good guys. So who the heck could it be that's causing all this grief? And, you know, you can't count Catwoman out because this one shot Robin in the arm. At the same time, it's the following panel. It says April 1st, and then you have Catwoman just unraveling something, and it's that painting. No idea. But yeah, I thought that with this issue right here, it was definitely worth the price of purchase. I can't wait to collect this in hardcover form. And I thought that Jeph Loeb has been, you know, tremendous thus far with this story. He, you know, the guy released 2 bangers with Hush 2 and Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween on the same day. And, you know, as fans, we're so spoiled and so lucky to be able to have the opportunity to have Jeph Loeb write again and Jim Lee drawing Hush again. Like, it's just like the old days. But we're getting 2 incredible stories. And, like, how good is this for Batman? Like, you know, when I went, I'm not sure about you guys, but like when I went to the comic shop, and I did hear Ryan Ryan Lauer on the Batman Book Club. He just released his monthly roundup with Pete Vera, and he was saying that his comic book shop was busy, and so was mine. It was bumping, and these guys were buying issues upon issues. Like they were like bigger stacks than usual, and rightfully so. I mean, like we got another Long Halloween sequel like that. You know, this one's going to obviously cap it off, and really curious as to where this goes. I thought that with Jeph Loeb talking about, like, this is obviously set in Batman's early days. And, you know, the way he is writing Robin is very fitting, and it's not too overwhelming. You know, it's not hyperbolic by any means. It's calm, it's tame, but it feels very grudgy and noir still. Still stays true to the Long Halloween formula. But yeah, I thought that this overall was an A. Enjoyed the art. I love the writing that Jeph Loeb has done. And the fact that we continue to get this month after month, I feel very spoiled and very lucky and fortunate, and definitely grateful that, you know, as fans, Batman fans, I mean, yeah, listen, we're not going to get another Batman movie for another, till 2027 or something. And it's crazy because they just heard that Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be coming out in 2026. And I'm like, really? Like, that has to use more CGI than a Batman movie. But you got to be patient, right? And in the meantime, we got a lot of time to be filled with a lot of these Batman issues that are coming out with Jim Lee and Jeph Loeb with the Hush 2, where I think they're coming out with 6 books and taking a little break, and they're coming out with an additional 6. I'm all for it. Looking forward to it. And then Batman The Long Halloween, Last Halloween. I've obviously enjoyed covering this for you guys and with you guys. I hope you're enjoying listening to me talk about it. I highly encourage you guys to pick these issues up. They're fun, and curious what your thoughts are. That's all I have to say at this point. I said it was going to be a brief review. There's not more I can say about how much I enjoy this series. I would like to point out that as of yesterday, April 1st, we found out that Batman actor Val Kilmer passed away at age 65, which was, you know, it's really sad just to hear what that man has gone through. I'm not sure if you guys have watched the documentary called Val, and just seeing him struggle just to speak, you know, and the man he was in the movies that he came out with. Just a phenomenal actor, phenomenal talent, which he'll definitely be remembered for. Movies like Tombstone, Batman Forever, Top Gun, just, you know, talk about banger movies. And yeah, he will be sorely missed. I know that over at Batman on Film, they're doing a nice, and it's not even like they did this on purpose. It was just like they're paying tribute to, I think it was 30 years of, Batman Forever. And, you know, how fitting that, you know, the way that you hear Bill talk about how highly he thinks of Batman Forever. Just go over there to that podcast and listen to them talk. It's chapter by chapter. I'm enjoying listening to them speak about it. It's such a fun movie. And, you know, even just like, it brings me to a time of like their figurines, their toys. Like, I was at that prime age too, where I think a lot of us, like the toys that were coming out were just awesome. I still have so many of them in my box that I still have. Anyway, rest in peace, Mr. Kilmer. You will be sorely missed, but will be remembered definitely through your incredible movies. Now, with that being said, this is Beyond the Bat Signal. Where can you find me? Well, you can follow along on X/Twitter at Beyond Bat Signal at and if you want to shoot me an email, beyondthebatsignal@gmail.com, where shoot me a comment, feel free, and rate and review the show, please, as it helps really spread the word and goes a long way. Drop 5 stars, drop a comment, whether it's on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartMusic, Amazon, wherever. And yeah, that's all for now. Now, this is Beyond the Bat Signal. My name is Dominic, and we are signing off.